CBS Atlanta News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
They put their lives on the line to serve our country. But what happens when servicemen and women return and get out of the armed forces? Well, today on Public Affairs on Peach, we'll talk about that transition. Good Sunday morning to all of you. I'm Bernard Watson. Well, transitioning from soldier to civilian can be very difficult. For someone who spent years in the war zone, following the chain of command, and then moving to a more relaxed role at home, it can be very challenging. Kenneth Gray was a sergeant in the Army, and he did 3 tours in Iraq. Kenneth, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, first thing I want to ask you is, you were in the military for 8 years, almost a decade. You're out now. How difficult was that transition going from the military back into civilian life?
Well, really, it was better organized for me. Oh man, I just locked up. I'm sorry.
It's okay. But you said, when I was talking to you earlier, you were mentioning you were in. I mentioned you were in for 8 years, and then you came out, but you got a job within what, a week's time or so?
Yes. It was really, there was nothing for me to transition. I was in the field artillery, and that really does not transition well into the civilian world. Well, I had to use other sources, like the skills that I learned. I was a sergeant, so that means that I was a supervisor, stuff like that. And it took me a lot of work with resume writing classes and stuff like that to transition all those skills into the civilian world.
Now, you work for Brinks now, correct?
Yes, I do.
So is that something that you wanted to do when you came out, or is that after thinking about all the things you could do, that's what came up?
Well, Brinks is one of the top 500 companies to hire ex-military. And that's because they realize the relevant skills and experiences that you've gained while serving in the United States military.
So in your case, though, you said you got a job within 9 days. Is that typical of people coming out of the military?
No, it is not. Sometimes people may be on unemployment for up to 26 weeks. It differs from case to case.
Okay. And what type of skills, I guess, are you using that you had from the military in your new job?
Well, in my job, I have supervision skills, accountability. There are certain tactical skills that I've used in my job. It's just basically being aware of your surroundings and knowing exactly what you need to do.
Is there something that made it easier for you to make that transition?
Oh, yes. The Army came up with a program called the Army Community Career Alumni Program. And what they do is they teach you different skills like how to write a resume correctly, interview skills, do's and don'ts of the job, stuff like that. And they allow you to go to this program while you're transitioning out. And it is up to you. You get out of it what you put into it.
Well, and again, you had no problems finding a job. So what are some of the issues that other military people face when they're trying to look for jobs, some of the challenges they're facing that maybe you didn't have to face?
Well, some people don't understand that sometimes you may have to pick bottom of the rung jobs just to get your foot in the door. But surely, I mean, someone will recognize the skills that you do have. And no matter what company you end up working with, if you're a veteran, chances are you're going to succeed.
And without that program that you mentioned that you went through, how much more difficult would it have been for you to find a job, do you think?
It would have been a lot more difficult. ACAP program is hands down one of the best programs the Army has for transitioning soldiers. And countless leadership put their full support into that program.
And when you're on the job, are there other people who are in the service who work with you on your job?
Yes, 85% of Brinks globally is ex-military. They are one of the top 500 employers of ex-military.
Okay. So I'm sure that helped the transition, knowing that you didn't have to wait long. You got a job. You were able to get back on your feet. How big of a deal is that for you as you're making that transition? It
was a very big deal. I've been working there now for 3 years. It's helped me get my head straight and get my ducks in a row, and hopefully soon I'll be starting to take care of another aspect that the Army gives, was the Montgomery GI Bill. I'm going to go to college.
Oh, good. That's good news for you. Well, any advice that you have for other service members who are making that transition?
ACAP program, you're only going to get out of it what you put into it, so it's up to you.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier, how's your family helped you make that transition here?
Oh, I couldn't have done any of this without my wife. She is my biggest fan.
Okay. and I'm sure she's giving you the support every day and
Exactly.
help get your mind ready. Now, let me ask you this. When you were in Iraq and you were transitioning back home, were you preparing yourself mentally for that, or was it you were just interested in coming home? Were you thinking about the job opportunities when you're overseas?
No, I was not. The only thing I really wanted to do was just get back stateside, and I didn't care what I did. I just wanted to come back home.
Okay. And so, what are some of the things? Do you miss anything being in the military now that you're back a civilian?
Yes, I miss the camaraderie. I miss the simplicity of it all. A lot of people think the military was difficult, but the lifestyle is very simple. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to do PT, I'm going to show up to work, I'm going to do exactly what I'm told, and at the end of the day, I'm going to go home.
So do you incorporate some of the things you did in the military now that you're a civilian? Do you do some of those same things to keep the routine up?
Oh yes, I still run, I still exercise, I still work as best as I can, and every day is a new challenge.
All right. Well, Kenneth, I appreciate you stopping by today. Appreciate you coming here, and good luck in the job, and good luck in heading back to school. I'm sure you'll do quite well.
Thank you.
All right. Well, coming up, the role of military spouses and the role they play in making the transition to civilian life a smooth one. Stay with us.